Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ellen. So today we're going to do some fall, well, not do some, we're going to do a simple fall wreath on hot press paper. If you have not used hot press paper, you should try it. It's a lot of fun. It's like ice skating on a rink, right? Your paintbrush is just gliding on this paper. The watercolor sits on it. It's a lot different. And playing with it is a lot of fun. I go over this step by step. I also have a reference photos that I would give to, if you're a Patreon member, you get to download the reference photos that I found on Pinterest, but no need for that if you don't have that. You can just watch me kind of create the sunflowers and the bittersweet really simply. These are just techniques on this paper that I find so easy and simple, and ways to create your own kind of fall wreath. If you have any questions, please leave in the comment section. Also, if you are not a Patreon member, consider joining, because you get the reference photo, you get exclusive tutorials on Thursdays, you get a live stream in the top tier, a Facebook group where you can share your pictures, where I do weekly challenges and monthly giveaways, and you get first dibs on watercolor workshops and retreats. Nice little bonus. Anyway, you can check out the information in a link below in the description box. Just hit those words, boop, boop, down here that say show more, and the whole box drops down with all my supplies, where to get my supplies, and the links for everything else. So without further ado, let's get painting. All right, so for this tutorial, I'm going to go over the supplies I'm using. I'm using hot press paper. If you've not tried hot press, you should. This is a block. You don't have to buy a block, but this artistico from Aquarello, and it's, from Fabriano. It's 100% cotton, and it's hot press, and it's extra white. This is the block, so it's about, I don't know, it's almost $30, something like that. But to me, sometimes it's worth it. You don't really need a block for hot press. You can buy hot press, but I would suggest cotton hot press. I'll be playing with my Princeton 12 Neptune series and my 8 long round. Like I said, if you're a Patreon member, the bonus is the actual reference photos that I used. I grabbed these from Pinterest, and obviously do not copy these exact. What I do is I take reference photos like this to get the feel of like how I want the wreath to look. Maybe I want some, bittersweet in it, and then I want some leaves, and I want some, looks like wheat in here, and maybe like a sunflower thrown in. So you kind of use the elements from all four and create your own. And that is the key, right? So to create a simple wreath, obviously, it can be, you take a pencil and you draw a circle. Just drawing my circle here just to give me where I'm going to put it. And so there's many ways you can do the wreath. You can fill it all the way in a circle, fill it mostly on one side, left or right. Maybe have some, I'm going to do some like little drawings of sprigs kind of coming out like this. I love this one with the bittersweet, kind of wild and crazy. But then you want some actual maybe flowers in here. So maybe I'll go down here to left and draw a sunflower. So here's a circle, and I'll draw out some petals. Simple like this. I have tutorials on how to draw sunflowers, and I wouldn't just do one. I would do like maybe 3. I would put another one kind of here, kind of going here, and I'd probably have one up here or something like that. So this is what you have to figure out. I like my flowers in 3s. I'd erase some of these crazy little marks that I don't want to see. You want to see some of the marks, not all of them. So if I like what I drew for the pencil, I don't necessarily want the marks for the actual circle. Right, so I can go back in and draw in. I don't have to draw in the actual petals. What I would suggest is draw the circle, and then you can go in and draw the petals. Right? So that's that. And then you're just mixing up colors and playing with the paint. With hot press, it glides on top of that paper. So here I'm going to grab some cadmium deep. I'm going to put it over here too. I'll mix some cadmium red light. Make an orangey color tone. If you add some burnt umber, it's going to change the yellow a little bit. See, a little brownish yellow. Make it a little thicker here. Do want it loose though. When you're going to see right now how it just kind of sits on the paper. So here's that sunflower I drew. I drew simple strokes with this number 12. You get a nice point on it, and you're just kind of pushing down and pulling back. Kind of wiggle it. See how I just wiggle that? You get a nice, simple petal. And you see I'm not taking much effort to create this. I'm going right over my pencil marks, and I don't mind. There, that's the sunflower. I do another one here. Just simple, push down, pull back up a little bit. You're really just kind of gliding on the paper. Whee! Going around the paper and doing some little marks. And it might have a little puddle here and create some kind of blooms that some people don't like. Cauliflower blooms. I like it with this. That's why I like the hot press. Sometimes you want paper that creates those kind of things. Not everybody does. This is not the kind of paper you'd use for, you know, blending wet on wet and, you know, bleeding the color. This is a different type of paper. Look at that bright. You could try and bleed a little bit. It's just going to sit. See how it just sits? So this kind of technique, you have to wait till it dries and then you do a color on top of it. That is the little trickiness of this one. So I would use my number 12, Princeton 8 long round for doing some of the twigs situation happening here. And I'm going to use burnt umber. That's just a simple brown right there. You can add some Paynes gray to it to make it a deep brown. Or if you don't have Paynes gray, my favorite colors to make gray are ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. Okay, they make a fabulous gray, and you can change the colors of that. So here I've got this brown, different types of browns, and we're just going to play with adding in some of the twigs. See? It just glides. I'm just kind of wiggling the paint right there. We're going to add some of those beautiful bittersweet branches. And we can add some leaves too. So I don't necessarily know if I want to do a lot of sweet and pretty flowers or sweet and pretty leaves, but I do want to do these twigs kind of like crazy going out here and crazy coming in the middle and out here. And we're just going to put some bittersweet on top of these. And it's just like basically dots of orange and yellow orange. Look at that. Already it's simple. So I'm just doing a dance. Do a little dance with your browns. Look at that. Within 5 minutes you get some cool stuff. For the dotting of the, I could use the simple number 12 Neptune series, but it might create a pointy dot. If you want like a real dot, maybe use like a rounder brush. Let's try this with the Princeton 10 Aqua Elite. Get right in here with this lovely cadmium red light. It's basically the bittersweet color. You know, you just go in here and you can put some dots in here. And I'm just going to go psh, psh, on the side. And see, it's already creating perfect little dots. And you're just kind of pushing it on the side. See how I just kind of psh, psh. This little technique like this. Just tapping it on the paper and it's just sitting there. And I can do these nice little, we'll do clusters of them. See? Just by holding it on the side. I got these lovely little bittersweet dots. I love to paint loose, especially on this paper. This is the paper that lends itself to a nice loose design. And I like all the little different, you know, bleeds. It's kind of, people don't like those cauliflower type bleeds, but I find them so pretty. Depends on what paper you're using, how it's looking. See, I'm going around it pretty quickly. Just this cadmium red light. I just kind of loosely watered it down. I'm just hitting this. You could splatter it, but I want it kind of more, you know, it's stylized. I don't want this random splatter. I really don't. So there we go, that. Add the cadmium red, yellow deep, making it a little bit, mix it with that red, and we get that orangey yellow color. And we're mixing the two. Because remember, bittersweet is like that yellow orange and the orange. And again, pushing it on its side, you can create simple bittersweet. And I would do some clusters, like in one of the photographs I have clusters of yellow or orange, more than one color than the other. You kind of don't want them perfect. You don't want them perfect little yellow areas, and perfect little, I'm going to put some more bright yellow in here, orange areas. You want them to blend a little bit. So I'll grab my cadmium red light. I might add a little magenta to it to make it a little bit deeper. See? So now you'll see some deeper areas of the bittersweet kind of clustered here. You see that? It shows up more because obviously the cadmium red light kind of just bled and got real, watercolor dries super light. So you might have to do another pass. And I'm doing another pass where the cadmium red light was. It was just not dark enough. So the consistency of this color is almost like butter. And butter is basically right out of the tube. Hardly any water. And you see how much it shows up? Much better. I'm doing a little cluster here. Voila. Simple wreath. We have our sunflowers are kind of dried now. We can go back in with the wash and add some deeper value on the sunflower. I'm just going to kind of go down the bottom here. Even the color I just used. See? I'm still using this brush. This is the 10 Aqua Elite. It's a little stiffer than the Neptune series. Adding in some color in here. You can kind of add on your sunflower a little bit of outline with this brush, a little deeper color. See how I'm going to outline some of them. The petals up here. Could outline. You want to do all your yellow color or whatever before you start to hit into the black and brown, because then it's just going to be muddy and messy. And I'm going to go back in with my bittersweet and add that bright yellow, basically right out of the tube. Like I said, it will dry lighter, so if it's in a tube, it's more of a thick. I'm going to add some yellow down here. All right. Now I've got just basically yellow, oranges, and browns. If you wanted to add some green, grab some wonderful, this is the peacock blue. I can mix in the colors I just used. All right. Got this nice medium green here. If you want to add a little more yellow. Got a nice chartreuse green. If you want to add a little brown, make it more of an olive type green. You see that? Go back and add yellow and go back some blue here. Depends what kind of green you want to do. I'm going to put some greens, maybe a little Prussian blue, get even deeper. And a little more brown. Around the sunflowers have dark leaves, so I'm going back with this 12 Neptune, pushing down and kind of wiggling it. I'm getting some leaves in here. Oh, and I got a little brown pigment here, huh? Never fails. Something will always go wrong, and I don't mind, because it just shows you if that happens to you, don't freak out. You can fix it. Going back and adding some leaves kind of hanging out under here, and some stems. Now you could have put those in before the bittersweet. It depends. I don't know. I'm just playing. And we had some green up here. And we've got some green going in here. You can add some green leaves in here if you want. We can add some wheat color. Going to add some greenery here, just to balance out all that sunflower. And we're going to fill in the sunflower center. I'm using the burnt umber and Paynes gray. So I do like a little thing where I have like a little, I call it a halo, leave a little white area, fill it in, except that. It's just the thing that I like to do. And I do my loose sunflowers. You just see I'm filling in the circle, but not all of it. So like the sunlight is hitting that area. Boom. Right there. Less than, well, 12 minutes. It could be less than that. We're done, right? And if you want to go ahead and get more advanced and add some more things, there's a wonderful color here called raw Sienna. Right here. I'll move some of this orange out of the way. It's kind of like a yellow ochre. And that's really pretty. And we can just water this down. And we can start to add some just pretty simple leaves kind of coming out here. If you want to add some gray tones. So again, how about some ultramarine blue? Look at that, mixed with the yellow color, which is the raw sienna. It's already turned into a gray. I can add more blue, and it's already gray. Look at that. So we can add some gray, blue leaves. Just filling in this wreath any which way but loose. It's so simple. And see how there's just glides over this paper? I love it. some ones down here. The trick is to paint a little fast. Remember I showed you on the hydrangea watercolor tutorial. If you haven't seen that, go back and look at that. Just scroll through my YouTube page. The faster, sometimes the better, because you're really nice and loose. Especially if you want it to look loose. If you don't, well then obviously make it tight. But I'm going to go back and add some of my browns. Deep brown here for these twigs. A little blackish brown. Getting much deeper than what it was. Getting it really funky and deeper here. Woo. We just want to have fun. That's the name of the game. Okay. And so you do your circle, you do your wiggles with the twigs, you have fun with adding some leaves, you do some simple sunflowers. That's kind of all she wrote on these things. And this is how I play with some paper like this. I can go back in and make this brown a little bit deeper on the sunflower. Right? All kinds of ways you can play with it. I did more bittersweet than sunflowers. I can go back to the sunflower. Let's see. Some yellow. The deeper orange. Deeper yellow. Go back and see this, the tip of this brush, and add some detail just by outlining the petals. See that? You can outline it in a deep black or even the brown. But I'm using like a yellowish brown color. Not every petal will get that treatment, but it's just a fun way to play with it. And of course, the leaves too. Let's get a little deeper with my green, because it dried now, and we can add some veins on some of these leaves to make it more interesting. You can play around with that. Add some chartreuse green. See? Very, very simple. Gonna mix up some of this yellow. Make a nice bright, see that neon green? You want a variety of color tones. So here I'm gonna go add some of that neon green. Maybe the leaves on this one could be just different. Not pointy, round. Or you can put some bright ones in here too. It's nice to step back and look at your stuff. So maybe I'll just get some nice green in here. Just add something. See, it's now building and building and building. If you want to do your bittersweet at the end, so you can build on that, do that. I'm adding in bright green, and you can see how it's kind of building out now. Minimal effort I'm taking to do this though. And you have a pretty wreath. And you can write words in here like thankful, harvest, all that good stuff. Gonna go actually and add that gray leaf. It doesn't have to be sunflowers, it could be daisies, it could be dahlias. You can add some purple tones. Here I'm going to grab my bright rose. Now this is like a plum kind of color, kind of going in here. Like a rosy plum. So maybe I'll do some little doodad flowers right there. Again, see, it's changing. I keep morphing this picture. Simply, you could have just done the sweet, bittersweet. But now let's morph it with some flowers that are plum color. You see that? It adds a little different dimension. There is the Prussian blue. Now it's more purple. I can play with some of that color. All these things you can play with. Please try and I'm just wiggling my paintbrush and adding in these colors. Simple blooms, nothing too extravagant. The purple. And that's that. Voila! You can do a wreath this fast, like in less than 20 minutes. Just using the techniques I showed you here. A simple circle, wiggling, doing the sunflowers, and just tapping in the color for bittersweet. and all that stuff in the twigs. So maybe I didn't like my twig like going like this, so I'm gonna go kind of crisscross it that way. Woo! Come off the page. You don't have to be in the page the whole time. Make it wild and free. Right? There you go. So I hope this was helpful. Like I said, if you're a Patreon member, you'll get my inspiration pieces of photographs that I used. But scour the internet, look and see what you can find. And also, when this is all dry, you can go back in, you can use ink, right? Use a pen and ink, go around the sunflowers, make that more interesting. Or even just take your watercolor that's even deeper black, and you can go around the petals and play around with that. There's so many different ways. I like to do this sometimes. I like to do a little outline. See how I'm doing this now? With just this Paynes gray. You notice how I don't do it in every single petal. Really loose, you can do it on the leaves too. It just adds another little touch to your picture. And here, wiggle it. Highlight like a couple of petals and then the center. And that's it. So thank you guys so much for stopping by my channel. Please don't forget to hit the bell notification button to know my tutorial's up. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. We have fun over here. Try hot press paper. It's like gliding across like you're ice skating with a paintbrush. You don't have to bang the paper. You're just moving it along the paper. It's such a smooth way and fun way to play with simple blooms and all that good stuff. And a nice wreath. So yes, take care guys and have a great day.